Hi friends. In last session we discussed how to create a repository on Azure DevOps and how a repository will provide us with a default branch that's called master, and we also learned how to push the code changes to the master branch. Today I'm going to discuss about the best practices and strategy for Git branch management. Okay, so let's start with that. Well, in today's world, most of the software development teams are using Agile and they are making use of various methodologies inside Agile. The most preferred one is Scrum. Okay, so what should be the branching strategy with respect to this Scrum based Agile development methodology? Okay, most of the time we have more than one team. Maybe one team is in India and other team is in other country. Okay, so these are the geographically dispersed teams. So how do we maintain syncing or synchronizing between the teams? So what I would like to prefer, and one of the best practices I have seen in one of my previous organization is that, first of all, they will create two branches. For example, as I am highlighting here, team A, the branch for team A and a branch for team B, both have been checked out or branched out from the master branch where the initial commit has been happened. Okay, now the two teams have their own branches. These two teams will parallelly work or start the development on these branches. So let me go from right to left and explain how this branching strategy will profit us. Okay. Well, the team will start with the development. Okay. And once they are done with the development, they will commit to their team branch. Okay. Now, what is the best practice in order to allow this incoming team changes into the team branches? Put some quality gates, my dear friends. For example, you will end up writing unit tests. You can use any framework. And then you should write the system integration tests or user acceptance tests. One of a good example for this kind of tests is a tool called Fitness. Basically, a Fitness A is a wiki-based tool where a business analyst or functional analyst will give business requirements in terms of tables where they will specify what are their inputs in column and what should be the result in one of the column that is called output. Okay, usually which is the best practice nowadays I have seen, where they ensure that the requirements which are coming from our BAs or FAs should be coming in terms of this tabular requirement format. Now what developer has to do, a developer will implement tests for those tabular requirements. You can explore more about fitness say, my dear friends. It's available on internet, or you can go to the fitnessay.org website of the fitness. Then comes StyleCop. StyleCop is a tool which allows us to find out any style related errors in our code base. This is also considered as a kind of quality gate because it will help you to maintain a clean code and a quality code. Okay. And the fourth quality gate that I would like to explain here is a static code analysis tool, which can be anything. For my example, I have used here Sonar Q, or you can go with the Endepend also. Okay, what static analysis code tool does, it actually analyzes your code for various code smells, security vulnerabilities, and any bugs which are introduced by using incorrect programming constructs or a wrong logic. So, what is the advantage of this quality gate or the quality gates is that when the incoming team changes are committed or they are pushed to the team branches, they have to pass all these quality gates. First of all, you should ensure the coverage that whatever functionality you have implemented, they are all covered using unit tests. Okay. If due to some reason, if you are not meeting that coverage percentage, say 95 percentage, then the build should fail and your changes should not propagate to the team branches. In the same way, for the system integration tests or user acceptance tests, which were provided by the business analyst or functional analyst, you should implement all of these tests and check your code against these tests. So when you run the system integration tests, your implementation should pass against the requirements mentioned by the business analysts or the functional analysts. Third gate, where your code should not contain any ugly styling. For example, a source code having more than 200 lines of code, okay, and a function or a method having unnecessary line spacing or tabs, okay, and a source code file not containing a header which gives information about the source code. There are many style cop rules you can check on the style cop official website. Okay, so this way you will maintain a clean code to manage. And the fourth one, as I explained, your code should not contain any security vulnerabilities, code smells, and other security threats. So once your code qualifies all of these four criterias or more than these, if you have any other, then once they pass this quality gates, they will be pushed to your team branches. See the arrow, guys. Now it's green, means your code is safe to propagate to the team branches, and code commits which pass the quality gates. Okay. Now, once it comes into team branch, okay, you can trigger some dev builds. Usually, all these quality gates will be implemented into the build pipelines, my dear friends. In Azure DevOps, we are using the concept of pipelines to build our applications or products. What you need to do, you need to integrate all these tools into the build pipelines. And if any one of these quality gate fails, your build should fail and it should stop the propagation of code to the team branches, or let the propagation of code to happen to team branches but send some emails about the failed quality gate to the team. So what is the advantage of this approach? The moment team receives the email, immediately the team will unite together and they will start fixing the error. Remember, my dear friends, each developer is not making use of a feature branch here. Whatever changes they commit, they are eventually into the team branches, and this team branch should be consistent. It should not be corrupted because other developers are working on that. So this way you are allowing the team to unite together to fix any kind of issues which may corrupt the team branch. Okay, yes, that's great. So once the code pushed into the team branch, the next step comes is we have to push it into the master branch. Before that, my dear friends, I would like to introduce one more approach here that I have seen in one of my last organization. It was a really nice approach. There was a concept called test day. Test day is nothing but testing on the development branch, my dear friends. Means on these team branches. So once your incoming code change qualifies and passes all these quality gates, it will build and up and running on the basis of these team branches on the build server. So what we have to do is we need to send one email to the entire team and ask them the developers to perform a test day. That's why it's called test day. A developer will perform testing on the team branches or the team branch building application. So once the peer developer performs testing of the user story or the bug on the team branch and approves that the expected functionality of the user story or bug is working, he will send an approval email or a OK email to the entire team saying that the test day has been passed on the team branch builds. Once that particular email is received by the developer will then raise a pull request to the master branch. So you are introducing another step of testing into your dev branches or dev builds itself. So what is the advantage of this approach? First of all, you are minimizing the threat of getting critical or high bugs on the team branches itself. You are eliminating this kind of vulnerabilities on the team branches itself. Okay, once that is done successfully, then the developer will raise a pull request to master branch. And trust me, my dear friends, performing a code review will be very easier here because most of the bugs or any kind of issues have been eliminated at the team branch level only. Okay, so the developer will raise a pull request to the master, and again, once the code has been merged to the master, again it has to go through all these quality gates in order to succeed the push of code changes to the master branch, because there's a possibility that more than one developer will be merging the changes from team branches to the master branch, and there is a threat that the master branch may get corrupted. That's why it's better to go through all these quality gates and ensure that again it passes the way it passed before committing into the team branches. So once it successfully passes all the quality gates on the master also, then the code should be pushed to the master branch, and then onwards you will start creating the releases from this master branch. Okay, and also one more thing I would like to say here: whenever a new sprint starts, what the developers has to do is there should be an activity called a merge from master branch to the team branches. There should be one task called a merge from master branch to team branches, and allocate some time to it. So what's the use of that? At the start of every sprint, merge from master to team branches on the start of the sprint, and whenever changes are pushed to the master branch. This is the best practice, my dear friends. All the team branches or the team branch will be up to date with respect to the master branch, because this master branch contains the previous sprint successfully released code changes or user stories which have been delivered. So on the start of every sprint, have the habit or not, I don't like to say it as a habit, but make it a mandate to take a merge from master branch to the team branches in order to start the new sprint on these team branches. And one more thing, whenever some code changes happen on master branch due to some pipelines or build related issues, or maybe some of the business test cases added in case of set, that is integration tests, the BAs or FS will straight away update those tests on the master branch only. Okay, they don't work on team branches. The requirements should always come on the master branches only. So whenever this kind of changes come to the master branch, schedule a pipeline in such a way that whenever such kind of changes comes, it will automatically pushes those changes to the team branches. On the start of the sprint, anyway we are doing merge from master to the sprint, but due to some reason, if there is a change in requirement and because of that they changed something, let that change to come into the team branch. Okay, whenever the BA or FS change, but not the developers. Remember this point, my dear friends. Okay.
This kind of approach, first of all, eliminates the concept of merge conflicts, which happen most of the time at the end of the sprint when every developer starts to push their changes to the master branch. So we should not waste our time spending into resolving this kind of merge conflict. So what is the better approach? Prevention is better than cure. That's what I say. Prevent these things in the early stages of the development itself. So I have seen some other practices also where when the incoming team code changes come, they will go through the code review process before they go into the team branches itself. The first level of code review process will happen here only, and then the code changes should qualify all the quality gates. It should pass through all the quality gates, and then it should be propagated to the team branches. And even from the team branch, once a pull request has been raised or a code review request has been raised, again, approver should approve pull request in order to facilitate the propagation of changes to the master branch. And the changes should once again pass all these quality gates. If due to some reason it fails with any one of these quality gates, again the developer has to look into it and correct it. This way, master branch will be always consistent, my dear friends. There is no question of breaking the master branch because we are taking so many precautions in the early stages of the development itself. And one more thing I would like to introduce here, most of the time the master branch is the branch from where the releases will go. Let's consider I have releases on 2 months. After every 2 months I will be doing one release. So how my development should go? Let's say I have two releases and I will call them milestone 1 and milestone 2. Okay, I will be keep developing. I will be having one master branch and I have the respective team branches. So if I'm working for milestone 1, okay, all team branches will go to the master branch and master branch will indicate the current milestone. In my case it is milestone 1. Okay, so once after 2 months, that's the day to release the milestone 1, we will release the master branch code for our release of milestone 1. Okay, once the milestone 1 goes successfully, what we will do is we will branch out. We will create a branch from the master branch, okay, and then we will name it as M1 or release 1. That's what milestone 1 or release 1. Okay. Now that has been a separate branch now, which is called as milestone 1, and master branch once again represents the current milestone. And what is the current milestone? As I already said, I have two milestones, right? So now the current milestone will become the master branch. That is, milestone 2 will become the master branch. Again, the team will be doing development on the team branches, and team branches changes will eventually go into the master branch. Okay, right? Basically, after every successful release of the milestones, we will be creating new branches from the master branch, and we will name them with respect to the release names or the milestone names. This is the good practice which yields good maintainability and also less burden on managing the code. Well, let me show one example in Azure DevOps now by checking out two branches and naming them with Team A branch and Team B branch. So, okay, guys, I'm in branches. So let me create a new branch. New branch. Okay, based on master because we don't have any other branches, and master is our main branch. So let me create a branch called Team A. Okay. You can associate some work items also. I'm not doing it. Let's create Team A. Good. I'll okay. So I have created a branch team A. Same way, let me create another branch team B. Team B based on master. So for my product, I have two teams, team A and team B. So both are working on the same product. Okay. So you can see the details over here. And yeah, that's great. So let's go to the branch team A. Yes, team A is having the base version of the application. So let's make some changes to this branch. Being a team A member, now I'm going to introduce some changes into my index.cs HTML. Okay, so I need to enhance this view page by adding another paragraph tag. I assume this is my user story for now. Okay, let me do that. I am adding another paragraph and I'm saying from team A. That's it. So I have done with the changes here, and let me commit my changes. So in order to commit our changes, click on commit. Okay guys. Now it will ask for a comment. So give the user story. Usually the best practices are while giving the commit message, while committing our changes, we need to give commit messages which reflect the user stories or bug IDs or the bugs. So assume this is the user story, or we call them product backlog item, and which is a user story. User story with some ID associated with that user story. Usually, this user story should be the user story ID which is generated in Azure DevOps. Okay, guys. So you can use that story ID and the name of the user story. Add paragraph. Great. So branch name is team A. You can, that's what I said. You can associate the work item ID. Okay, the work item ID is nothing but the user story ID. For now, I use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but you can go to the boards of your team. Okay, go to the board and from the sprints, from the current sprint, go to that user story and check what is the ID for that. Well, I don't have currently any boards created, but if you people create the, usually we will have user stories for whatever changes we make to or implement on our team branches. So just add that user story here and associate by typing that user story ID or bug ID. So currently I don't have anything, that's why no items found missing. But if there's a valid ID, it will show you that ID. Just click on that, it will be associated with it, and then you can commit your changes. Let me show that. So guys, I'm in my projects boards and sprints, and this is sprint one. Okay, let me create a new work item. So I would like to go with the product backlog item. So just give a useful name that is add a paragraph. Uh, Okay, assign it to the team member who wants, still there are no users because I have not added any users. Assign the user, okay, team members to that, and then give the effort here. I don't do that over here and say save and close. So it should created it. So if you go here, guys, you can see that there's the ID called one. This is the ID I'm going to use over here now. Let me go there and now commit. Let's say now it's loading. I'll type one. Okay, well, it was able to find. Okay, okay, so it was able to find the product backlog item one. That's add a paragraph. So update it just now. Give a meaningful message as I explained. ID, then the name of the store. So it's going to the branch team A. So comment. Great. Now our change has been moved into branch team A. Now let's create a pull request. Okay, see, I don't need to do anything, guys. See, team A, I want my changes to propagate to the master. It automatically selected master as my target branch. If you go to the files, it will show you the change over here. What I have done, I have added this paragraph here. That's great. Go to the overview. It has added the title, which is the ID, name, and the user story name and ID has been came there. And let's create. And one more thing, you can add reviewers. Remember, guys, a new pull request is nothing but a code review initiation process. Basically, you are saying that some changes from team A are going into the master with this story ID and title. Okay, and you can add the reviewers here. Currently I don't have any team members, so I would like to add myself as the reviewer, but you can add as many users as there are in your team. Okay, so the moment you say create, it should create a pull request. So there are no much conflicts from pushing changes from team A into master, and you can see the files. Okay, now actually what happens in actual development teams, now the developers to whom or the developers whom you have added to this pull request, they will perform code review on your changes that you have newly introduced with. If everything is okay, they will just say approve. Okay. If there is something missing or you have done some bad programming or any kind of issues, they will put comments over here, like here, add a comment, and they will give some comments. Okay. So the reviewer has added some comments and developer has to fix those comments. Okay. And if you think that the comment given by a reviewer is not valid or you have justification, just give some justification here. That's fine. Reply. That's isn't that great? Now let's approve it. It's approved. Complete the merge. So complete the pull request. Team A changes are going into the master. It's asking delete team A after merging. No, I don't want that because that's my team branch. So complete associated work items after merging. When you merge your changes from team A to team B, it will automatically complete the associated work items. That's my user story will be set to closed, but I don't want that either. So I just want a merge. Well, my changes have been put into the master. So now if you go to the branches, well, branches, and if you see the history, you can see that guy merged pull request one id name add a paragraph from team A to the master. Okay, you can see this graph here which explains what's happening and what happened from which branch to the which branch. Well, that's pretty simple, and you can see all these indications over here. This is my change that I merged to the master. Great. So this is what I wanted to explain to you, my dear friends. Basically, this is how we should perform the development processes. Okay. It's a bad practice directly committing into the master branch. Never ever do that because you can't track what's happening over there. What is the advantage of having this kind of branches is the traceability. Okay, see how easily you can trace. Some member in the team B did some changes. He first pushed into the team branch. Okay, and then from team branch he raised a pull request to the master branch, and that pull request initiated a code review process. Okay, once the review process is successful, then only the changes should go to the master. We need to set some triggers in Azure DevOps which will not allow you to merge your changes to the master until and unless all of the code reviewers will approve your pull request. Okay, then only it should go to the master. So this way we will easily trace who's doing what changes and when these changes have been propagated to the master branch. Okay, so that's it for today. We'll meet up in the next session. Thank you guys.